All right, if I can have your attention briefly, I would love to kick this thing off and get started. We've got a lot of awards and recognitions tonight. So, we'll get started with our first. I'm proud to announce the first award of tonight. And this is our 2022 Nurse of the Year honoree, which I think is a really big deal and amazing. The past 2 years, again, I don't have to tell you are all quite familiar of the sacrifices that our nurses and physicians have made every single day. And I think we all remember the tired faces that we've seen on TV over the past couple years through the breakout of COVID. And I think what we fail to understand is day in, day out, post-COVID, even pre-COVID, how hard nurses work every single day, right? So, I'd like to honor our 2022 Nurse of the Year to Andrew Baird from UCLA Health. Where are you, Andrew? If you don't mind standing up for us so we can all see you. There you are. And then I'd like to invite Janet Gripsover, our RN nurse manager of liver and small bowel transplant, to come to the stage and introduce Andrew to all of us. And Dr. Caldas from UCLA and Andrew's patients nominated him for this amazing honor. Please, the mic is yours.
Thank you. And thank you for pointing out that I'm not Andrew, because so while I'm not Andrew, I can say that I am honored to know such a compassionate and amazing nurse. Andrew is a transplant coordinator at UCLA that has just really specialized and is so driven by his care of patients. He listens to everybody's story with all of his heart and mind. And I think of a case really not that long ago where he called me up. There was a patient that was in liver failure, and their insurance company was being a little bit difficult in approving getting them listed. And Andrew called me, and it was like 8 o'clock at night. Like, I'm thinking, like, what the heck? And he's like, Janet, like, we got to get this girl listed. Like, what are we going to do? What can we say to the insurance company that can help? Like, this is what I've done. I've done this. What else can we do? And I was just like, wow, like, how wonderful is that to have an advocate like that, like Andrew? So without me talking anymore, I can say that Andrew has touched a lot of people's hearts over the years, and he has been nominated for this award, appropriately so. And in addition to this, he's also been the recipient of 4, count them, Daisy Awards over the course of the year. And I think that that's also something to just be incredibly proud of. So with that, let's meet Andrew.
So I initially entered into the profession of nursing kind of in a circuitous manner. I never thought I'd become a nurse back in the early 2000s. I entered into nursing. I was actually a manager of a grocery store at the time, and you may ask, what are the similarities? There are some, believe it or not. I went to school to become a licensed vocational nurse in the early 2000s in Virginia. And when I finished that, my wife and I, my wife is also a nurse, we relocated to Los Angeles and to UCLA. And that's when I was introduced to liver transplant, of course, and kind of have fallen in love with it ever since. So since coming to UCLA in 2006, I eventually went on to earn my RN degree and then on to earn my master's degree. I initially became a transplant coordinator in 2015. It really gave me a whole nother perspective upon nursing and what we can do for transplant patients.
Andrew is probably one of the most meek, humble, hardworking, most dedicated and highly competent nurses or nurse coordinators I have ever worked with. He is the, in-house nurse coordinator that handles all the complex liver transplant evaluations for the entire UCLA liver transplant service, and all the complex heart liver transplant evaluations as well, inpatient and outpatient. So it's an extraordinary workload. He does it day in and day out. He will be working, I will get emails from him at 11 o'clock at night. Okay, he's not getting paid, he's home and he's still working. This is not somebody who does this as a job. He does this as a commitment and a dedication and a career. And that, quite frankly, in today's day and age is highly admirable. He is one of those people that if you don't look for him, you'll never notice he's there, but he gets all the work done. It's really remarkable. It really lives up to all the descriptors of true selfless nursing beyond just the bedside care.
Something I really love about it is it allows myself and also nursing to be able to advocate for patients. We really get to know the patients, get to know their story, help them navigate through what can be oftentimes a very overwhelming process of going through a transplant evaluation, what it means to be transplanted.
Andrew's motivator and driver is to find ways to help the patients become good candidates and solve their problems and challenges and whatnot. And, that is the ethos of a liver transplant program, right? We're supposed to find ways to take care of patients, to save lives. And, they come to us in all various settings of extremis. And, he gets viscerally involved in trying to navigate a path through the darkness so that we can arrive at the transplant destination with, replacing the liver. I've seen him cry for patients. I have seen him get to know patients' family members. And treat them as if they're his own family. Everybody's happy when Andrew's around. Everybody's happy when Andrew's around. They know that things are going to get done. They know that patients are going to get what they need. And they know they have an extremely pleasant person to do it for them.
Every day I see patients come to us, and they have tragic stories, but also they have beautiful stories. Nothing brings me more joy than to see a patient that we transplanted come back to us a year later, 2 years later, and you don't even recognize them. They look like different people. Just the other day I had a patient we transplanted, and I came in a few days later and he told me he'd gotten married in the hospital over the weekend after his transplant. And I think that really speaks to the beauty of transplant, of what we can offer patients and how we can give them their life back. Every patient has a story, and much like working in a small hometown grocery store that's focused on customer service, patient care, patient's family-centered care is much like that. Every patient has a journey of how they got here, and we're just a piece of that to help understand their story and to help navigate them through it. When I first entered into transplant at UCLA in 2006, a lot stayed the same and a lot's changed. The patients that we transplant, there's been a lot of changes in how we treat certain diseases that at one point in time was the primary cause of why we were transplanting patients. So hepatitis C was one of the primary reasons why we transplanted patients. In addition to alcohol, hepatitis B, and a sundry of other different diseases that cause patients to develop liver failure. We didn't used to transplant patients that didn't have 6 months sobriety. Now we look at them and we look at their broad story to see how we can best help them, how we can advocate for them. And that's something that really I'm passionate about, of not just taking a patient by a diagnosis, but what they come with, but really looking at the whole person. And what it's going to take if they're not ready at that point in time for transplant, what it's going to take for them to get there and further advance on their journey. I'd like to express my appreciation to the Liver Health Foundation and also Dr. Caldas for nominating me. And of course, I can't forget all of my colleagues who I can't do this job without them. It really takes a team effort. Everyone from Dr. Caldas to Dr. Farmer to the rest of our transplant team. And of course, I can't forget Dr. Busatil, who really brought us here to where we're at right now. Things are constantly evolving. in the field of transplant. So, and I look forward to accompanying and assisting in that journey.
Dear Andrew, my heartfelt congratulations to you for the receiving the Nurse of the Year Award for 2022 by the Liver Health Foundation. I cannot think of a more deserving individual for this. It is an honor to work with you and have you as a colleague. Your consummate dedication and commitment and utmost professionalism with and for our patients makes UCLA a better program. And for that, I'm truly grateful. I can't think of a more deserving person for this award.
This is an award for Andrew on his behalf. You are accepting it and holding on to it.
Thank you. And again, I apologize. Andrew sends his deepest regards, and I think we can speak for everybody here that we're sad that he's not here. And I know he said that he wasn't able to attend. But again, he has told me that he sends his deepest appreciation to all of you, and especially the Liver Health Foundation. And thank you. And I will make sure this gets to him promptly. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And we are so happy and truly honored to be in the presence of so many hardworking nurses here with us tonight. So if I may ask all the nurses here to stand up so you can be recognized and we can show you our appreciation with a big round of applause.